The raven appeared in the store a few days ago. After waiting some time for it to reappear, I was super excited and I bought it immediately. It looked great and I was so happy my favorite skin was now mine. I had a great day playing Fortnite. I looked at the time and decided to get off. That was when my night was going to go from great to worse. I get in my PJs, I turn off the lights, and I lie down in my bed. I drift off into sleep and I have this dream that the raven broke into my room and proceeds to murder me. I wake up with sweat all over my body as I'm breathing deeply. I look up in the corner of my room and I see his glowing purple eyes. I hear a voice say, "Nevermore." I'm freaking out. I'm still dreaming, right? I have to be dreaming. The eyes get closer and closer until I see his whole body in view. And he tells me again, "Nevermore." My Xbox randomly turns on and it loads up Fortnite. He's making me play the game. My body won't control itself. It just gets up on its own, and my hands pick up the controller. I proceed to play Fortnite. As I see the raven right next to me, he says once again, "Nevermore." I load into solos and I'm freaking out. I'm crying. I'm scared. I don't want to know what happens if I lose. I drop in and I decide to play it safe, and I go to Tomato Town. I end up dropping and beating a guy out to a common AR, and I pick him off. I loot Tomato Town, and then I run like hell to Risky Reels to get some more loot, and then use the hop rocks to get my way back into the circle. I look away from my screen, and the raven is just staring at me, as if he's waiting for something to happen. I managed to loot a little bit of Risky, and I hop rock my way back to the circle. The circle was directly in the middle of the map, so a lot of major spots were still playable. As I'm running into the circle, just in time for the storm, I get sniped out of nowhere and die. Just like that. No warning or anything. The Xbox shuts off and the TV just turns to static, and the static was so loud. I look at the raven and he lets out a scream and he says, "Nevermore." Well, you're finally awake. You gave us quite the scare. I'm sure you're terrified, Dylan. My name is Dr. Smith. Do you know what happened? Well, someone came to rob your house, but don't worry, every family member is okay. But the robber, he didn't know anyone was home. You were beaten and shot and near death. It's good to see you're alive and well. It's going to be a long road to recovery, but I'll let our attending doctor know that you're awake so he can meet you and tell you about your upcoming surgery. Don't worry, Dr. Nevermore is great.
Greetings, friends. Let's play a game. What if you download League of Legends right now? Start playing.
My friend Brett and I love to play Fortnite, and we were pretty great at it. In solos alone, we owned kids, but on duos, man, that was something special to see. Our teamwork and chemistry was unmatched. I'm not saying we were unbeatable, we were, but there was just something about our duos that made us know that one day we would win out all the tournaments and have our names known throughout the Fortnite competitive scene. At least, that's what should have happened. But unfortunately, my friend Brett died by a drunk driver. I'm still not over his death. It's like a fresh wound, one that won't heal. One minute people are in our lives, and the next, they're gone. His mother came over and was going through his things, and she gave me his limited edition Fortnite headset. She told me I was the only one worthy of having it. I immediately grabbed it like it was a security blanket, just searching for something to know that he's still here with us. After taking the headset in my room and laying down, just holding the headset and staring at it, and thinking about the past memories that were held on this headset, something clicked inside me. I went to my Xbox and I unplugged my old headset and plugged Brett's in. I loaded up Fortnite and I went to solos. I dropped Tomato Town and I clean it up. 2 people go there and I beat one of them out for a chest and I kill the poor kid. The next guy only found a shotgun, and with me having high ground and an AR, you could say I picked him off pretty easily. At this point, I have a sense of pride because even though Brett isn't here with me, I'm starting to use the headset as a coping mechanism. All of these things were turned upside down. I started hearing breathing from the ear cups of the headset. I checked to see if anyone was in my party, but there wasn't. I thought it was just a glitch, so I reset my Xbox. When the power turned back on and I loaded up Fortnite again, I didn't hear anything. I let out a sigh of relief, but as soon as I loaded into the actual match of Fortnite, I heard breathing again. Only this time followed by a raspy, "Hello? Hello? Hello? Hello?" The voice repeated. At this point, I'm terrified because it sounds like Brett. After thinking about what to do, I let out a timid response. "Brett? What's up, man? How you been?" the voice says. I'm losing it at this point. No, you aren't Brett. You can't be. "Sure I am, man," Brett says. I talk to him and I ask him questions that only he would know. And he answered all of them. I was freaking out. How is this possible? I go to bed and I have a vivid dream and I see Brett stopping at the stop sign and looking both ways. Then I see the car. The car plows into Brett and, well, I know the rest about what happened. I wake up from this vivid nightmare and I hear voices in the headset. Keep in mind my Xbox is turned off and so is my controller. I move closer to where the headset was and I put it on my head. I was shaking in fear. It wasn't Brett. It was a demon. The demon told me to go to where Brett died, saying I knew the place. As if my body had a mind of its own, my body grabbed my car keys and and I drove myself to the spot where Brett died. I stopped at the stop sign and I look both ways. I look all around me and I see what looks like to be the ghost of Brett, and he's mouthing something. Something I can't understand. I drive exactly to where Brett drove through, and out of nowhere, it looks like a car came straight out of the depths of hell and it hit me head on. My car is being flung across the median and I hit my head on the steering wheel. I see Brett and in what looks like the afterlife. He looks at me and he says, "I warned you. Stay away."
Why are you watching videos when you could be playing League of Legends? It's free! None of that pay.
The TVs in Fortnite are special, when they aren't all static, that is. They are one of Fortnite's many ways to tease something new coming or to share information as it relates to the game. I expected the TVs on the game to go back to their usual static ways once the snow came in a few days ago, but the TVs haven't, and things are starting to get weird to say the least. I've even been dreaming about the TVs, as stupid as it sounds. I see in one of the TVs in Fortnite what looks to be my city in real life. I live in Seattle, so this wasn't an immediate concern or anything. It's a big city after all. The TVs were playing what looked to be a looped video of the Seattle Space Needle and rain hitting the city. The rain's noise was overpowered by a static sound, and there was also some sort of film grain on the video, almost as if this was an old clip filmed with outdated tech. It looked gloomy and honestly unsettling. I continued with my matches for the day. The TVs kept on playing the same thing over and over again. With the TVs all over the game and their loud noise, you could imagine I was having a tough time hearing other players, and I would die a lot because of this. I called it an early night and went to bed out of pure boredom, and honestly, tomorrow was my off day. I, however, didn't get much sleep. I had another dream about the TVs. This time it wasn't the Seattle Space Needle. This time it was closer to me, alarmingly closer. My dream showed my neighborhood. My house is almost out of frame. The water that was rain suddenly changes into red droplets that I would assume to be blood rain. The blood rain was hitting all of the roofs in the neighborhood. It then zoomed to my house and to my roof. The blood rain spelled out the phrase, "You're next." Luckily, my alarm went off and I was saved from the dream that was quickly evolving into a nightmare. You know when you dream something it's so real, you check the actual thing in real life that you dreamed about? I found myself grabbing a ladder and checking my roof for blood. Nothing. I mean, what did I expect? A dream to be real? Yeah, right. I used my off day and I got all my errands done. I had something odd happen at the post office. They have this old TV hanging up, so when you're miserable in line, you can watch TV. The TV was showing nothing but static, and the audio was nothing but blaring audio. I asked the workers to turn off the obvious old and broken TV. When I asked that, everyone in the post office, including the workers and all the other customers, asked me if I was alright, because the TV was very much working and showing the local news. I finished there at the post office and I leave embarrassed, but more worried that I seem to be seeing things and hearing things that other people aren't. I also can't get the sound of static out of my head. I head back to my house and I relax the rest of my off day away playing Fortnite. The TVs in the game, they changed the video again. This time it was far creepier than I could have ever imagined. It It was a live feed of my house. With each TV I found as the circle got smaller, the new TVs that I found, their feed peered closer and closer to my window, until one of the TVs I could see a figure. It was me. I tested out the theory. I raised my hand. After a few seconds, the feed showed me raising my hand. This was a live feed of me in my house. It showed another feed all of a sudden on what was probably the final TV I would see in this game. It showed someone else's point of view breaking into my garage. I heard things fall in my garage shortly after. Naturally, I left the game. I hid in my upstairs room since I usually game in my living room, and the garage is attached right to it. I used my cell phone to call 911, but there was nothing but static, almost as if he was controlling everything. I reach for my gun under my bed. I'm willing to defend myself and do whatever it takes. When I load my M9 pistol, prepared to defend my home and myself, the TV in my room turned on. It was showing the feed again. It showed the person behind me. I turned around thinking he was indeed behind me, and I popped 3 shots of my M9 back to back. Nothing. I just hit my wall. The static that was filling my head and my ears all day suddenly increased tenfold. I'm screaming in pain, and I know I'm screaming loudly because I can feel my vocal cords strain and hurt. I'm too busy being effectively paralyzed by sound to be paying attention to the real threat next to me. I feel a blade enter my back and re-enter 4 more times. This person was trying to stab me to death. My fight or flight instincts kicked in, and I turned around, blindly shooting my remaining clip. I know a few bullets hit him. The person runs out of the room and my house altogether, leaving a trail of blood. It was almost as if he had a scrambling effect on or something to make the things like the TVs and sounds act up, because when he left, everything returned to normal. As I lie there, bleeding out on the floor, I managed to get a signal on my phone since he left. I dialed 911. I'm about to pass out. As I lay on my back on the wall and my head looking back to the window, I see what looks like blood rain outside. I pass out. The next thing I know, I'm at my local hospital, and a team of doctors are briefing me on the extensive surgery I had just received on my back. I would be able to walk again, but after some intense rehab. They told me sombering news. The police grabbed the blood that they believed to be his from my house. They ran background checks. His DNA isn't known to anyone, not in any database, not anywhere. The doctors leave. I turn the TV on to see if I would be featured in my local news. The TV turned to static. It showed a live feed of me in the hospital bed. It showed my monitor flatline and words popping up saying, "You're still next." Then the TV turned to the local news and showed my story. The scary thing is, there's more story than these news people are reporting, because apparently this isn't over. Next time, whoever or whatever you are, I'll make sure to kill you before you kill me. But just know, only one of us will succeed.